who fed his people with 2 fish. Pisces.
Now, this claim, made repeatedly by Peter Joseph, Jordan Maxwell, Acharya S., and David Icke, is easily disprovable and was badly refuted in my film Zeitgeist Part 1 Exposed by scholars. But why do these supposed truth seekers want to promote this ideology to us? Let's see.
Now with the New Age coming in, there's a real conflict because there's a dramatic shift in energies between the two. Plus, it's said in the writings of Alice Bailey that the remnants of a passing age tend to be the lower aspects of it, not the higher. And I think that's what we see today in the fanaticism and the rigid immovability of fundamentalist groups, not only in religion, but in all aspects of life. The people who dig in their heels and refuse to adapt and budge and just take their stand on what they believe are principles. I think the best description of what we can look for in the New Age might come from the Bible. There was the appearance of the water carrier that Jesus told his disciples to look for, the man with the water pot. When Jesus was preparing to leave his disciples, he told them that they would find him again in the distant era, which is now the New Age, and they should look for the man carrying the water pot. That is symbolic of the sign of Aquarius, which in fact is said to govern the New Age.
The man bearing the pitcher of water is Aquarius, the water bearer, who is always pictured as a man pouring out a pitcher of water. He represents the age after Pisces, and when the sun, God's Son, leaves the age of Pisces, Jesus, it will go into the house of Aquarius, as Aquarius follows Pisces in the procession of the equinoxes. All Jesus is saying is that after the age of Pisces will come the age of Aquarius.
Again, this was already refuted, but the question remains, why do Peter Joseph, Acharya S., Jordan Maxwell, Lucius Trust, and the New World Order want us to believe this esoteric view? Let's see.
Financial crisis?
Well, yes, I think so. There is this, all this corruption is, which is unfortunately at the heart of a lot of the financial financial collapse here. That there is a lot of corruption that is coming up to the surface. It's being exposed. And as I said earlier, it's clearing away because there is a much more that's coming in the next few generations. And one of those is the return of the Christ.
I don't know if you guys understand what's going on here. People like Peter Joseph, Acharya S., and Jordan Maxwell are pushing these esoteric views of the Bible on us, so we accept what Lucius Trust and the New World Order is going to do, their order out of chaos scheme. They're waiting for their new Christ, not Jesus Christ's second coming, but their new Christ from their new age, their new age religion. They want to get you to accept it. Remember, Alice Bailey said that they're going to be externalizing the information that the hierarchy had to the public, and that they're going to be pushing this information through Masonic lodges, the church, and the education system. Well, I guess their new strategy was to put out films like Zeitgeist to get you to accept this new esoteric philosophy that will enable you to accept the New World Order, New World Religion, and probably their false Messiah, which Revelation says is the false prophet.
And the world, human consciousness, has to be prepared and open to what he is going to say and teach.
But you have to make clear to our audience that he's not coming to convert everybody to Christianity.
Oh no, absolutely. But it's going to present the new teachings that we have to need really to move us forward.
And he's the same entity, the Ageless Wisdom says, that is expected by the Jewish people, the Messiah. Messiah and Christos both mean the Anointed One. The same individual expected by the Buddhists as the Maitreya, he whose name means kindness. And the Kalki avatar of Hinduism. These are all different perspectives on this one great world teacher who periodically reappears to help humanity move forward in its evolution.
Accept the premise that faith is not in decline. It isn't disappearing inevitably under the weight of scientific and technological progress. It is still here with us, not just surviving, but thriving. In an era of globalization, of political interdependence, where the world is ever more swiftly opening up, and the cliché about a global community becomes an economic, political, often social reality. In this new world, how religious faith develops will have a profound impact. The forces shaping this world at this moment are so strong, and they all tend in one direction. They are opening the world up. I sometimes say to people that in modern politics, the dividing line is often less between traditional left versus right, but more about open versus closed. The divide then is between those who see this as positive, the opening up offering opportunity, and those who see it as threatening and therefore wish to close down. And all these issues derive from a fear that globalization is throwing people and cultures and countries together, but with no common sense of values or understanding of each other. The landmark Gallup poll being taken worldwide now demonstrates the huge centrality of cultural and intercultural sensitivity as to how globalization is perceived. It is in this context that the role of faith is especially important, not least because most religions were global even before political and economic systems were. If people of faith reach out to one another, learn to coexist, believe in respecting the other, they can play an important part in reducing that fear and tension, being proud of their own distinctive religious and often cultural identity, but open and in amity towards those of a different religion. Alternatively, religious faith could be used to bolster, to promote, to intensify the very clash of civilizations we seek to avoid. That is why it matters to those of different faiths and those of none to have a powerful interfaith encounter, precisely because such an encounter symbolizes and enacts a world of coexistence, not exclusion. In fact, I would widen the argument still further. I believe faith can transform and humanize the impersonal forces of globalization and shape the values of the changing set of economic and power relationships springing up in the early 21st century. This is one of the issues I'll explore in the Faith and Globalization course, which I'm starting with Yale University later this year.
And I want to get into this aspect too. You say that Christians talking about the end times is a misinterpretation, and we're going to be shifting into this new age every 2,150 years. There's supposedly a new solar god that takes the place of the previous solar god, and I almost think that you're a pawn of the Illuminati by just trying to discredit Christianity.
We're all pure spirituality. We are the power that is. All
so you believe in a God, you believe it's something outside of our understanding, outside of our dimension.
Of course there's something outside of understanding, because we're just a fragment inside this larger whole. I end Zeitgeist with a very positive note. We're talking about the consciousness, the whole consciousness, and it's the best argument I can think of to try and settle some of these, confused notions people have about life. Because you can scientifically orient yourself and even more importantly, spiritually orient yourself into a collective consciousness to realize that we're all one organism. And the moment people stop dividing themselves up and generating religious division, political division, the moment people stop fighting amongst themselves is the moment paradise will dawn.